when you go buy bananas and they go bad in like 5 minutes and you're like, oh, I should make banana bread with that, but we never do? I'm actually gonna try to make banana bread today. The problem though is, this is my kitchen. We ain't got no oven, but we have this. My first time ever trying to make banana bread is gonna be with a toaster oven. So, if it doesn't taste good, I'm gonna say it's because I don't have a proper oven. So I had to go and use Google Translate to try to find the ingredients. So this I found online. Oh, that's normal for us, right? This had English on it, so that's good. This I'm just not sure about. I had translated and asked her for baking soda, and this is what I got. But I'm not used to seeing this, like these pictures, right? Like I'm used to like Arm & Hammer baking soda. Oh, I also don't have proper measuring cups, so I'm using this, which is milliliters. This is another great online order that I screwed up. I needed brown sugar, but I definitely did not need this much. Anyway, this is canola oil, and that's in English. Another one where I did not need this big of a thing. Then it said I needed parchment paper, and I found this. It's called paper foil, but I was like, well, it can't be foil if it's made of paper, and the picture looks like paper, so sure enough, it's parchment paper. So happy day on that. I also don't have teaspoons and stuff, so I'm just gonna use this. So I don't bake, and I don't have an oven, and I don't have proper measuring cups or teaspoons or tablespoons. You know, now that I say that, this is a teaspoon, right? This is not a tablespoon. Okay, so I'm gonna get started, and I'm pretty sure nothing will go wrong. Oh, and I have white sugar, and that was in English too. And then I bought a loaf pan. It's kind of tiny, but I guess I kind of need this size. But it's got these holes on the bottom. I thought that was a little weird. So we're gonna get going. I'm basically eyeballing all of it. The only thing I'm not eyeballing is that the recipe says I need 3 bananas and 1 egg. That I can figure out. The other stuff, I'm just gonna kind of look at it. So like 1/3 of a cup of butter melted. I don't know. I'm supposed to preheat this to 350, but like it goes to 230. That's not even hot enough. And which of these? That's toaster, right? I just Googled. 350 is Fahrenheit. Our toaster oven is in Celsius. So it's 176 Celsius. So I figured that part out. Y'all ever peel frozen and then thawed bananas? I almost quit. That's disgusting. So when they started going bad, I stuck them in the freezer and then I thawed them. Ugh. I know it's supposed to look like this. The peeling of it was absolutely disgusting. So this is 3 bananas. Okay, all I have for measuring is this thing. And I Googled how many cups is 300 milliliters, and it's 1.26 of a cup. So I'm gonna try to use this for measuring because next is the flour. Okay, so one of these is 1.26. But I need 1.5 cups, so that's 0.24, maybe like that. And then it doesn't tell me to sift it, but I feel like I should because it's like what they do on the shows, so I'm going to sift it. Then it says a cup of sugar. And then it says parentheses, 1/2 cup optional. I don't even know what that means. Like add a 1/2 cup is optional, or you can do a 1/2 cup instead of a cup. Anyway, so remember this thing is like 1.26. So I didn't fill it like all the way up, I mean, what could be the harm? That it'll be like too sweet? That doesn't seem bad. Now it's an egg, and all of our eggs here are brown, and they're all like the same size. Like, I can't seem to find, you know, in America it's white eggs and it's like regular and then jumbo and whatever. Well, it's all these. This seems small, but I'm gonna follow the recipe. Okay, and then it said a teaspoon of vanilla. So I did, you know, this again. Now it says to mix all this. I thought, usually on shows you do like the liquid ingredients in one and then the dry ingredients in another and then mix it up. And look, my whisk is so tiny. Like there weren't enough concerns to begin with. In the ingredients list, it told me 1/3 of a cup of butter melted. But then in the actual recipe, it never tells me to add the butter. Like, I've read it so many times and it never says when to add the butter. So I added it to the bowl. Because should it go in there? Flour freaking gets everywhere. Like, you mix this stuff, it's on my shirt. Okay, I mixed everything in it. I mean, it does look like a batter. I'm supposed to put it in here. Unfortunately, the parchment paper did not exactly fit, so I'm a little nervous about that. I just will fill it like maybe right up to here or something. Okay, here it is, and we're gonna pop it in the toaster oven for 35 minutes. I mean, I'm gonna have a loaf of something at the end, right? Let's hope the temperature and stuff is right. So here goes. Be back in 35 minutes. So it's in the toaster oven. But as I was sitting here thinking, I had looked up another recipe for no oven banana bread. And I found something that you can do on the stovetop with a pan. You still put a loaf, you do all the stuff in a loaf pan, but then you somehow cook it in a pan and cover it. Anyway, that recipe called for brown sugar. And there was no brown sugar in this recipe. So I'm a little nervous about that. Because that seems odd to me. But otherwise, okay, I followed the recipe that I got to a T. So it should be great. Now, I don't have a proper oven. I don't have proper measuring cups. I don't have proper teaspoons and things. And a couple of my ingredients were questionable. I've also never made banana bread. So this is also my first time. I'm watering our plants right now. Other than all that though, I followed it to a T. So let's see. I am just wondering about the brown sugar. Like, shouldn't all banana bread recipes be basically the same? Like, I know you can add nuts, but Eli's allergic to nuts, so I didn't do that because this is gonna be delicious enough for the whole family to try. So I left the nuts out, but I know you can add like chocolate chips and stuff, but substituting the brown sugar, or not have one recipe having brown sugar and another not, seems a little strange to me. But I don't know. It's definitely in the oven, right? You know what else I just realized? The original recipe I first looked at also had canola oil, which is why I bought that bottle of canola oil. And this recipe didn't call for canola oil at all. Is the butter in place of the canola oil? Oh, why would the recipes be so different? So one recipe called for brown sugar and canola oil. I bought that, and then I was like, oh, I'm gonna try the toaster oven recipe. And that recipe didn't have canola oil and brown sugar. Okay, so if it tastes like crap, it's because it didn't use brown sugar and canola oil, and it's not a proper oven. Why would the recipes be so different? Maybe butter is a canola oil substitute, and maybe the granulated sugar, you don't need brown sugar too. Okay guys, it dinged, but I don't think there's any way this is ready. It looks yellow still, so I'm gonna, geez, maybe another 10 minutes. It says I'm supposed to check with a toothpick, which of course I don't have. So I did 10 more minutes. Let's see. I don't know. It is higher up. Shouldn't it be browner? I'm gonna give it like 5 more. You know, I'm gonna give it 5 more minutes because of my baking expertise, and my baking expertise tells me it should be a little browner. After this last 5 minutes, I'll take it out. And it just is what it is at that point, I guess. Okay guys, moment of truth. I think I'm supposed to test it with something like a stick and then see if anything sticks to it. But I don't have anything like that. I wonder if I could do a fork. Maybe I can do a fork. I'm gonna get it out of the toaster oven. Y'all, I'm not even gonna lie. This looks legit. So it jiggles though. So I think it needs much longer. And I put the fork in it and that came out. So I'm gonna do like, gosh, I don't know what to do, like 15 or 20 minutes? It seemed like there was so much flour. I'm surprised. Like it jiggles. Let me see if I can make it jiggle. See that up there? I'm sure that's not supposed to happen. So I'm gonna do like another pretty big batch of time, maybe 20 minutes. But this looks so good. I should probably take a photo of it before I ruin it. I decided to do another 20 minutes. That's like so much longer than, than what the recipe said. But I think the recipe is for like mini loaves. It showed 3 little guys in a toaster oven. This is 1 loaf, right? This thick. So that's how I'm rationalizing 20 more minutes. We will see. That looks like a freaking loaf of banana bread. I mean, I cannot believe it looks like that. Okay, so I put it in for another 20 minutes, maybe too long. Hold on, I gotta use 2 hands. I got it out. I don't know, maybe this looks more correct. It definitely got taller. So it says to flip it over on like something like this that can have air coming up through the bottom and let it cool. So that's what I'm gonna do now. It is still not cooked all the way. It is still jiggly, and this came out. But I'm worried about keeping on cooking it because I think the outside's gonna burn. Okay. I'm gonna cook it for a little longer. See, I don't know what I'm doing. I know that's very clear by now to you. So with the thickness of it, how do you cook it all the way through without burning the outside? So I stuck it in for another 20 minutes. In my mind, I'm thinking worst case scenario is that the outside gets burnt, but if the inside cooks, I can just cut off the outsides maybe. Because that's definitely not cooked through. I did another fork test and it was still a little goopy, but not much, just a tiny bit. I put it in for another 20 minutes. This is gonna be the last time. After this, I'm gonna bring it out, I'm gonna set it on a rack, and I'm gonna let it cool. At this point, how freaking long have I been baking it? I started out with like 35 minutes, then did like 10, then did 20, then did 20. Where's brown sugar? Where's the canola oil? Why am I on like triple the time? After this next one, I'm gonna get it out and set it on the rack and just be done with it. Okay, my final batch of 20 minutes. It's much darker. I don't know if this is looks right. I didn't even try to poke it with a fork this time because honestly, I'm just not gonna keep putting it back in the oven. And look at this, right? So now I'm gonna plop it upside down on this. Okay, so it's upside down to cool. I'm not sure how long it's supposed to cool. I don't know, that looks okay. But I don't know. I'm still thinking it's not gonna be cooked all the way through. We will see. I'm gonna let it cool for a while. I flipped it over to the right side, correct side. I'm gonna let it cool a little bit longer because I'm scared to cut it. I'm gonna slice it. So if it's not done, it'll be worse in the middle, right? Mm-hmm. So I'm gonna start out here. I did it in the toaster oven. Jordan's here. Okay, are we ready to see?
Doesn't look bad.
It does not look bad.
Can I try it?
I'm gonna try in the middle, okay?
Ah! The way you're hitting the plate.
Okay. Are we ready to see a piece in the middle?
Looks the same.
It looks kind of brown around it. But it's cooked.
What'd you cook it in?
The toaster oven.
You can cook stuff in there? Apparently.
And I have no measuring cups or anything.
Ow.
Okay,
Get it. No, no.
now let's try it. Okay, let's try this piece in the middle. Because this might be,
You gotta cut it in half.
it's still hot. Oh, yay. Okay, so here's the piece. I have to admit, I'm very surprised at what it looks like.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
It's not that bad. What's the black thing?
Banana.
Is it good?
Yeah. It totally tastes like banana bread.
Also worked?
I cannot believe this.
And it's all cooked?
And the edge is just a little crispy.
Toaster
If I like banana bread, I think.
Guys, this is success.
Now you can do
More baking tips on the way.